LEGO Island 2: The Brickster's Revenge. Well, I don't think there will ever be a game where the sequel is so much less regarded than the debut game in the series. In fact, there was a chance that this game may have not even been made had it not been for the cancellation of a planned LEGO cartoon named Adventures in LEGO World, and along with it, the planned tie-in game LEGO Fantasy. The game was repurposed as LEGO Island 2 after someone on the development team noticed that the main character looked a lot like Pepperoni. Right here, I find that so interesting how LEGO basically stumbled into the sequel pretty much by accident, especially since LEGO Island sold 909,000 copies between 1997 and 1999. So you think LEGO would be racing to release a sequel to capitalize on that unprecedented success. But I guess I'll give them credit for really branching out because LEGO was releasing a shit ton of games after LEGO Island was a hit. Multiple games a year, in fact, from LEGO Loco to LEGO Racers, even LEGO Chess. LEGO was on fire, and maybe it had something to do with the fact that one day before LEGO Island 1 was set to release, LEGO fired the entire development team Mindscape. It was later revealed that this was most likely due to LEGO being absolute scum and firing their hardworking employees who just made you millions, so they could avoid honoring the bonus program they had in place. This honestly is one of the most horrific stories I've heard regarding a game headed toward release. Usually the shady tactics happen during development, not after, and this was the day before the game is about to be released and become a revered classic. But LEGO got themselves a new developer to work on LEGO Island 2, Silicon Dreams, a developer that mostly made soccer games. So right off the bat, you know something is wrong here. Mindscape already had a ton of games under their belt, with one of the most popular being Paperboy on NES. But maybe Silicon Dreams can surprise us, right? Well, let's get into LEGO Island 2, the finished product, shall we? I'm playing the PC version, but there is a PlayStation port as well as versions for the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. So LEGO was looking to capitalize on the popularity of the first game by making it available on more platforms this time around. But the PC version looks so much better than the super pixelated PlayStation version, so there's really no point in playing that one. So basically, all the characters from LEGO Island 1 are back, and in that game you could play as the cops Nick and Laura, Mama and Papa Briccolini, and their adopted son Pepperoni! Yeah, so all those choices are gone and you're just playing as Pepperoni! Okay, yes, Pepper. Oh dear God. The voice actor for Pepper and basically all the characters are so terribly voiced compared to the first LEGO Island. Oh my God. My apologies to his voice actor, Diane Perry, because I know you and the other 4 other voice actors were tasked with voicing multiple characters, but it's such a step down from how John Morris voiced him in the first game. And who is John Morris, you ask? Well, none other than Andy from Toy Story. Damn! How did I miss that when I did my video on the first game? Oh, by the way, here's a little card for you so you can watch that video. But Jesus, talk about cheaping out, hiring 5 voice actors, and one of the 5 only does the voice of one extremely minor character, Queen Leonora. What? These fuckers made millions off LEGO Island 1 and fired the team who made it before its release so they could make maximum profit, and they can't be bothered to hire any prolific voice actors, and pretty much all the voice acting is pretty amateurish. And the only good lines come from some of the more obscure minor characters, like this guy.
Pepper's pizza makes me dribble.
Okay, they had to know this sounded weird, right? So you start up this game and you get a severely pixelated intro and the fucking load times are just abysmal. Oh my god, this is just ridiculous even for 2001. There were PlayStation 1 games that took less than half the time to load. This is downright absurd. You'll have to wait for the main menu to appear, and once you load up a save file or start a new game, you'll have to wait again. But anyway, Pepper is still delivering pizzas on Lego Island, and the Infomaniac is here, and he's lost all his wacky charm, and you'll notice that with everyone. All the charm and good sense of humor is gone, because obviously Mindscape had a hand in that, and they knew to actually hire some actually talented and experienced voice actors to help convey the humor and charm of Lego Island. It's important to note that Mindscape both developed and published their game, so they were mostly responsible for hiring the voice talent. There's still all the major locales, even though things have been rearranged and added or subtracted. The most disappointing part of the island is that, with the exception of the information center, you can't enter the same buildings you did in Lego Island 1, so there's no going inside the police station or hospital. That's a little sad. The information center has also been greatly downsized, only having one accessible level and nothing to do here besides looking at the map. You will eventually play a mini-game here as part of the story, but that's it. Most noticeably, the game is in the third-person view, changed from the completely first-person perspective of the first game, and it is no longer a point-and-click game. Pepper now can jump, and you can switch between your skateboard and running, but for some odd reason, Pepper can run faster than he skateboards. He even runs faster than a fucking car. What happened here? You can even go inside an indoor skate park and pull off some moves on the vert ramp. It's not much, but it's a nice little extra. So you'll spend the first part of the game delivering pizzas to the citizens of the island, and it took me forever to find this last person on top of the hill to deliver to, because I didn't realize there wasn't any railroad tracks covering the crossing, because every time you get on the tracks, the station master swoops in and flies you around the island, and when this first happened, I'm like, what the fuck? Something is up with this too, because he drops you off at the nearest heliport for some odd reason, and not even the closest one. You'll have one last delivery to do, and damn, Papa Briccolini was a whimsical, charming character in the first game, but oh my god, is he fucking annoying here.
Hey, Pepper, my good friend, you did such a fine job today. Yes, such a fine, super fine job. Yes, sirree!
No, you gotta shut up.
So apparently, no one learned their lesson from the first game, and the Brickster is the designated recipient of the pizza. But fear not, he's not getting the same super hot and spicy pizza from the first game, he's only getting one pepper this time. Oh well, this shouldn't be a problem. But the Brickster has saved up all the spicy ingredients in his cell because Nick and Laura are total incompetents, and the Brickster proceeds to use dragon breath to melt the bars off his cell. The Brickster steals the helicopter again. Why do they still keep this near his cell? Have they learned nothing? And he steals the Constructopedia, which is a document that seems to work faster than the Power Brick from the first game, because he tears pages from it and it deconstructs all the buildings. And the music is so calm and peaceful during this cutscene. Shouldn't some more menacing music be played at such a pivotal point in the story? But the Brickster isn't done yet. He calls forth his Brickster bots from Olgo, which is the Brickster's hometown and wasn't mentioned at all in the first Lego Island, but it is mentioned in the comic that was included in the instruction manual of the game, which is a nice attention to detail for those who didn't buy the first Lego Island in the box. Chances are this reference would be lost on them. So Pepper now has to seek pages of the Constructopedia and defeat a bunch of the Brickster bots by smashing them with pizza, establishing combat for the first time in the LEGO Island series. Then we'll play this weird whack-a-mole style game, and it starts off fine enough, but I'm hitting the Brickster bots and avoiding the Infomaniac, so why am I losing points? And my shots are actually connecting. What the hell? Well, I passed it, so who really cares? You get nothing for getting gold or silver rankings except more useless points, which is extremely stupid. As long as you get bronze, you'll move on to the next part of the game. So you'll then embark on your first journey off the island to Castle Island to find another page where your first order of business is repairing a bridge, which involves you diving down into the sea to retrieve the fallen Lego bricks with the worst swimming controls I have ever experienced, and I am playing this with my Switch Pro controller. I got stuck on this fucking cannon, and I couldn't unstick myself no matter how hard I tried. Luckily, I could just abort the mission to start over and didn't have to quit out of the game. Next, you'll joust with a Black Knight, and then go toe-to-toe with Cedric the Bull, an actual character that was featured in the LEGO toy line. This island is so pathetically small, and you can't even enter either castle. This is just lazy, much like this line delivery. Actually saying ha ha ha? Who is this guy, Mandark? I remember wanting one of the 90s castle sets when I was a kid, but that shit was so expensive. But they were so aesthetically pleasing. I really would have loved to see the castles fleshed out way more. And the castles in the game barely even look whole. I mean, look at them. This is just lazy. I mean, we can't even go inside either castle, and the exterior looks bad enough. They couldn't even be bothered to render a full model of a castle. So then it's back to the island for more Brickster bot bashing and page finding, and then you'll pilot the helicopter in a callback to the first game. And it's kind of weird because Officer Nick tells Pepper he can customize the helicopter, but you actually can't. You actually can't customize anything in the game, come to think of it. You're then off to Adventure Island, where you will meet up with another toy line character, Johnny Thunder. You'll man the turret on the back of a Jeep, fending off incoming snakes, and then enter into another whack-a-mole style minigame, and this definitely works better than the Brickster bot one. But repeating the same minigame again? I mean, come on, that's just lazy. Then it's off to the Mummy's Tomb, and I enjoy the creepy atmosphere they tried to incorporate here, and Pepper even has a fear meter that goes up the more the skeletons bump into him. You have to match two symbols that are found in the coffins. Then when you grab the page, Pepper gets a Raiders of the Lost Ark moment with a giant boulder chasing him. But don't bother hurting your precious finger by hitting the down key or pressing down on your controller, because Pepper just automatically runs. Thanks, I think I could have done this on my own. So then it's off to meet up with Johnny Thunder and company, and we'll be commandeering a speedster as we make our way through the desert. And how did that go for me exactly?
Driving ain't like skateboarding. Oops. Driving ain't like skateboarding. Oops. Driving ain't like skateboarding.
Holy cannoli. And I thought the swimming controls were bad. What are these controls? What were they thinking here? I don't think they could have made the controls any clunkier if they tried. It's like Silicon Dreams never played a racing game ever. Surprisingly, the arrow keys seem to work better here than using my Pro controller, but if you get stuck on a rock or a big cactus, you're in big trouble because the timer is pretty tight and you'll be struggling to get unstuck while the timer ticks down, and it's pretty infuriating. So you'll come upon a fishing pond in the middle of the desert. Yeah, somehow this is a fucking desert and fish are surviving here, and Big Bertha, the biggest fish in the pond, has swallowed your page. This isn't a bad little mini game. I actually found it to be rather serene, and the music was relaxing. It's not like Ocarina of Time levels of relaxation, but it's definitely enjoyable. So once you catch the bloated fish, you've gotten your page, and I guess slicing its big ass open is done off screen. Once meeting up with Johnny Thunder, we learn that the professor who's been supposedly helping out, even though he's not doing a goddamn thing, has gotten heat exposure, and now we have to commandeer his biplane and pick up fuel along the way. I heard this was hard, but once you learn where the fuel is placed throughout the path of the minigame, you'll do just fine. Maybe also it was due to having a controller because the plane actually handled quite well. Next up is Mr. Hates, whose name is actually Sam Sinister in the LEGO toy line, and he has captured dinosaurs, and you'll be riding on a T-Rex back to go save them in another minigame. This is a pretty decent auto runner section, and it controls well, and it's moderately fun. You'll get inside a hot air balloon and use a device to somehow carry multiple ton dinosaurs to safety. How the hell is a hot air balloon supporting that kind of weight? Once all the dinosaurs have made it to safety, you'll go one-on-one with Mr. Hates and drop sandbags onto him until his evil ass is defeated. Then it's back to Lego Island, where Brickster bots have gotten stronger and now are immune to your pizza attacks. To top it off, the Brickster kidnaps Mama and Papa Briccolini to make them his own personal pizza chefs. From here, you'll need to once again collect all the necessary pages and rebuild the radio tower, and the DJ will give you a boombox which you can use to make the Brickster bots dance and then explode. Then there's this weird part near the police station where the two Brickster bots don't explode and they keep dancing and dancing. The Infomaniac is talking about luring them to the police station. We're at the police station, genius! What, are they not standing on that one magic pixel of a spot? I guess that's what it was because they finally blow up. So now it's time to head up to the Space Center and do some training. And wow, this mini game was not easy to figure out. The instructions up to this point do a decent job of telling you what to do, but this time it's like, figure this shit out on your own. You have to tap left and right in conjunction with the green lights, and each time you do it correctly, you'll gain speed, and you'll pass the training if you reach max speed before the time is up. This was really a pain in the ass to do, and do yourself a favor and use the arrow keys for this one because doing this on my Pro Controller felt impossible. But wait, there's more! Now you'll have to skydive through rings, open your parachute, and land on one of the targets below. Surprisingly, the controls felt rather decent here. Then it's off to space to reach Ogle, and you'll have to avoid incoming asteroids in your space shuttle as some really funky music plays. It's a really good track, and that's actually saying something because there's not a lot of good music in this game. It's definitely a big step down from the classic OTS of the first Lego Island game. So that is very disappointing to say the very least because I love the OST from Lego Island 1. Next, you'll need to skydive down when it's discovered that the Brickster stole the landing gear. And how are you doing this in space is beyond me. How does any of this work in zero gravity? You'll then arrive at a building and rescue Mama and Papa after making pizzas in a minigame that puts the residents of Ogle to sleep. This minigame is okay. I'm not sure why Papa has to move back and forth like this and Pepper has to throw the fucking ingredients at the dough like a dartboard, but if we're asking questions like that and expect a cohesive, reasonable answer at this point in the game, then we really need our heads examined. From here, you will make your way to the Brickster stronghold at the highest peak on Ogle, and you'll have a decently tricky platforming challenge waiting for you. Once you make it to the top of the tower, you'll do battle with the Brickster. All you'll need to do is hit the Brickster with a pizza 3 times while avoiding the Brickster bots that push you off the ledge. If you get pushed off the ledge, the Brickster's health resets. so the Brickster somehow locks himself in a cell in his own tower. What? Well, anyway, there's a big party on Lego Island and everything is right again. Well, that's it. It's done. Lego Island 2 is over, and you know there was definitely more content in this one than the first Lego Island, but this is a really good example of how more content isn't necessarily better than less content, because this game is not good. It's not really bad or anything like that, but it's definitely a poor follow-up to the first game because it lacks all the charm, mysticism, warmth, and comfort of the first game. Lego Island 2 is just lazily thrown together, being mostly an assortment of mediocre minigames, and the game's controls, outside of just walking around, are dreadful. The music is a major step down, and the voice acting is a major letdown. This is a sequel that really fails on all accords. The locations you explore are so disappointing and feel very underwhelming and underdeveloped. You can't even go inside a lot of the same buildings that you did in the first Lego Island. I get that Lego Island 1 only had one island, but it was what happened on the island that made it special. Perhaps it's nostalgia that's driving this opinion, but Lego Island 2 just feels like a sequel that fails to realize what the original was all about. I truly think that the magic died with the firing of Mindscape, as they were the only ones that could truly provide a fitting sequel to their classic, because the number one thing that made Lego Island 1 special and stand out was its undeniable sense of charm. Guys, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Have you ever played Lego Island 2? Do you enjoy this game? Do you share the same opinion as me? Do you think it's a dreadful experience? I would love to know, so let's discuss it in the comments below. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell to get all notifications when I post all my new videos. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and hit the dislike button if you fucking hated it. And I want to thank all my subscribers for your continued support, and any donations that you can provide on Patreon would be greatly appreciated as always. And thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.